The giant ship hung in space like a silver teardrop. It had been there for 3 days now, silent and still. Earth's leaders were nervous. They had sent many messages, but got no answer. Until today. "They want to meet," said Captain Han, looking up from his screen. "They asked for scientists, not soldiers." Kim Taho sat in the back of the meeting room. He did not expect to be chosen. He studied how humans deal with death. Why would they need him for first contact with aliens? "Dr. Kim," Captain Han called. "You are on the team." Taiho looked up, surprised. "Me? Why?" "They said they want to understand human culture. Death is part of that." 2 days later, Taiho found himself on a small ship heading toward the alien vessel. With him were 5 other humans, 2 language experts, a biologist, a physicist, and Captain Han. "What do we know about them?" Taiho asked. "Almost nothing," said Dr. Park, the biologist. "They call themselves the Jason. That's all they told us." The inside of the alien ship was bright white and strangely empty. No chairs, no tables, no signs of personal items. 3 tall figures waited for them. The Jason had blue-gray skin that seemed to shimmer. They had 4 arms and large dark eyes with no whites. They stood perfectly still. "Welcome," said the middle one. Its voice was soft and musical. "I am Duri. We speak your language now." "How is that possible?" asked one of the language experts. "We sent our first message only days ago." "We learn quickly," said Duri. "We are many minds working as one." Captain Han stepped forward. "We are honored to meet you. I am Captain Han, and these are Earth's representatives." When Taiho was introduced, Duri tilted its head. "You study death. Explain." Taiho felt all eyes on him. "I study how different human cultures honor their dead, how we remember those who are gone." The 3 Jason looked at each other. They made no sounds, but Taiho sensed they were somehow talking. "Gone where?" asked Duri finally. "Well, nowhere. When we die, our bodies stop working. Our minds end. We cease to exist as individuals." The aliens became very still. "This is not possible," said Duri. "Information cannot be lost." "For us, it can," said Taiho. "That's why we mourn. We miss the people who die because they are truly gone." "Show us," said the alien on the right. "We wish to understand." Over the next week, the human team lived on the Jason ship. They shared meals, showed pictures of Earth, and tried to explain human life. The Jason were brilliant but confused by human emotions. They couldn't understand why each human acted differently. "Why do you laugh when others do not?" Duri asked Taiho once. "Are you not connected?" "No," said Taiho. "Each human is separate. We have our own thoughts, feelings, and memories." "This is why you fear death," said Duri. "You are alone." Taiho shook his head. "We're not alone. We connect through talking, touch, shared experiences. But yes, death ends those connections. For the Jason, death is transfer," explained Duri. "When a body fails, the mind joins the others. Nothing is lost." Taiho thought about this for a long time. "So you never experience loss?" "Loss is inefficient," said Duri. "Loss has no purpose." On the last day, when the humans prepared to return to Earth, Duri approached Taiho privately. "We wish to learn more," it said, "about human death. About this, mourning." "Why?" asked Taiho. "Because it makes no sense," said Duri. "And things that make no sense are worth studying." Taiho smiled. "I'd be happy to teach you." He didn't know then how important those words would become, or how soon the Jason would need them. 3 months had passed since first contact. Earth and the Jason had agreed to build a joint research station in orbit around the moon. Scientists from both worlds would work together and learn from each other. Taiho stood at the large window, watching Earth shine blue and white in the distance. He still couldn't believe he was here. His small apartment in the human section of the station felt more like home now than his real home back in Seoul. Still staring at the view, Lee Ji-woo walked up beside him. She was a doctor who studied alien biology. "It helps me think," said Tae-ho. "I'm trying to understand the Jason mind." Jae-woo nodded. "Good luck with that. Their brains don't work like ours." That was true. The Jason had shared some of their biology with the human scientists. Each Jason had a physical brain, but it was only part of their mind. They also had a special organ that connected them to all other Jason through signals humans couldn't detect. "They're never alone in their heads," said Tae-ho. "Can you imagine that? Always having others with you." "Sounds awful," Ji-woo said with a small laugh. "I like my privacy." Tae-ho had been meeting with Duri every day. The Jason was the main contact between the two species. Today, Tae-ho had a new question. "Duri, if all Jason minds are connected, who are you? Are you just one part of a bigger mind?" Duri's four hands moved in the strange pattern that showed it was thinking deeply. "I am Duri," it said finally. "But I am also all Jason. It is hard to explain in your language. I have this body, these memories, this role, but I share with all, and all share with me." "And when you die?" Tae-ho asked. "My memories and thoughts join the whole. This body stops, but nothing of me is lost." Tae-ho tried to understand. "So there's no fear of death? No sadness when someone dies?" "Why would there be?" Duri asked. "The body is just a tool. When it breaks, we continue." That afternoon, Tae-ho met with the human research team. They shared what they had learned about the Jason. "They have no art," said one researcher. "No music, no stories, no paintings." "They have no names for colors beyond basic terms," said another. "No words for specific emotions." "And no grief," added Tae-ho. "No concept of permanent loss." Jae-woo shook her head. "I'm worried about you, Tae-ho. You're spending too much time with them. They're not human. Don't expect them to understand things like we do." "But that's why I'm here," said Tae-ho. "To help build understanding between our species." Later that night, Tae-ho couldn't sleep. He walked through the quiet station until he found Duri in the observation room. The Jason never seemed to sleep. "May I ask you something personal?" Tae-ho said. "Yes," said Duri. "Do you ever feel lonely?" Duri was silent for a long time. "I do not know this feeling." "Explain." "It's when you feel alone, separated from others, missing connection. Impossible for Jason," said Duri. "We are always connected." "Always?" asked Tae-ho. "Even here, so far from your homeworld?" "Distance does not matter for the connection," said Duri. "But..." It was the first time Tae-ho had heard Duri hesitate. "But here, the connection is weaker, fewer voices. Sometimes I feel different." Tae-ho leaned forward. "Different how?" "More separate. More." "Duri, not all Jason. It is new." The alien's eyes fixed on Tae-ho. "Is this what you call lonely?" "It might be the beginning of it," said Tae-ho softly. "I do not like it," said Duri. "Is this why humans fear death? Because it is the ultimate alone?" Tae-ho nodded. "For many of us, yes." "Then I am sorry for all humans," said Duri. "To live always knowing such separation is coming." "Don't be sorry," said Tae-ho. "It's that knowledge that makes each day precious to us." Duri's head tilted. "Precious. This is a concept I wish to understand better." Neither of them knew how soon that understanding would come, or what it would cost. The alarm woke Tae-ho from a deep sleep. Red lights flashed in his room. The station's calm computer voice spoke. "Emergency in Section 4. All personnel report to safe zones." Tae-ho jumped out of bed and grabbed his uniform. Section 4 was the main lab where humans and Jason worked together. He ran into the hallway where other humans rushed in different directions. "What's happening?" he called to a passing engineer. "Gas leak in the shared lab." The man yelled back. Some kind of explosion. Taiho's heart beat faster. He ran toward the medical bay where Zhe-Wu would be working. When he arrived, the scene was chaos. Medical staff ran between beds. Both humans and Jason were being treated. Zhe-Wu, Taiho called. He spotted her treating a burned Jason. Her face was tired and stressed. Taiho, thank goodness you're safe, she said without looking up from her work. It's bad. Really bad. What happened? An experiment went wrong. Some new fuel the science team was testing. It exploded and released toxic gas. She finally looked at him. Her eyes were red. We lost people, Taiho. 3 humans dead. 5 Jason too. Taiho felt like the floor had dropped away beneath him. Who did we lose? Dr. Yoon from physics, CO from engineering, and Kim Jung, the young lab assistant. Taiho knew them all. Jung was only 22, on his first space mission. Taiho had shared meals with him, listened to him talk about his family back home. Over the next hours, the station slowly returned to normal operation. The damaged section was sealed off. The dead humans were placed in special cold rooms until they could be returned to Earth for burial. The dead Jason bodies were handled differently. They were taken to the Jason section of the station. Taiho didn't know what would happen to them. That evening, the human crew gathered in the common room. Captain Han stood before them, his face grave. Today we lost 3 good people, he said. They died serving science and building peace between our worlds. We will honor their sacrifice. Many humans cried. Some hugged each other. Others sat alone, lost in thought. Taiho watched as photos of the dead were placed on a wall. Candles were lit. Personal items belonging to the dead were displayed. In the middle of this, the door opened. Guri and 2 other Jason entered. They stood watching the humans with their large dark eyes. What are you doing? Guri asked Taiho. We're mourning our dead, Taiho said quietly. Remembering them. Why do you put their images on the wall? To help us remember their faces. Why do you light small fires? Candles, corrected Taiho. They represent life. A light in the darkness. The Jason watched for a long time. They did not speak, but Taiho could tell they were communicating with each other. Finally, Guri spoke again. The 5 Jason who died. Something is wrong. Taiho turned to face the alien. Wrong how? Their transfer was not complete. Parts of them did not join the whole. Guri's voice sounded different, less certain. There are gaps. Missing pieces. I don't understand, said Taiho. I thought nothing was ever lost when a Jason dies. Nothing ever was lost. Until now. Guri's hands trembled slightly. We have never experienced this before. Data was lost. Memories are gone forever. Taiho felt a chill. Are you saying that for the first time, the Jason have truly lost someone? Not someone, said Guri. Something. Parts of our whole. And how does that make you feel? Asked Taiho. Guri looked at the candles, at the crying humans, at the photos of the dead. I do not know the word for this feeling, it said. But I think you humans do. And in that moment, Taiho understood what was happening. The Jason were about to learn what it meant to grieve. 2 days after the accident, Taiho sat with Guri in the quiet observation room. Earth hung in the black sky beyond the window, a blue jewel that seemed so peaceful from far away. Our people are not well, said Guri. Its voice was flat, but Taiho had learned to notice small changes. The alien was troubled. The Jason are sick, asked Taiho. Not in body, in mind. Guri's 4 hands moved in slow circles. The missing pieces cause disturbance. Many Jason report strange thoughts. Bad sleep. Loss of focus. Taiho nodded slowly. Those sound like signs of grief. Explain this grief more clearly, said Guri. You say it is normal for humans. Yes. When someone we love dies, we feel pain. Not physical pain, but pain in our minds and hearts. We miss them. We wish they were still with us. But they are gone forever. Wishing does not bring them back. This is not logical. Tai-Ho smiled sadly. Grief isn't about logic. It's about love. The alien tilted its head. Love. Another difficult word. May I tell you a story? Asked Tai-Ho. About my own experience with grief. Yes. Tai-Ho took a deep breath. He rarely spoke about this, even with other humans. When I was 15, my sister Minji died. She was only 12. She got very sick very fast. The doctors couldn't save her. Duri watched him with unblinking eyes. Minji loved to draw. She made beautiful pictures of animals and people. She was always smiling, even when she was in the hospital. Tai-Ho's voice grew softer. After she died, my mother put away all her drawings. She couldn't bear to see them. But I took one, a drawing of our family, and kept it in my room. Why? Asked Duri. Because looking at it hurt, but it also helped me remember her. The pain reminded me how much I loved her. You chose pain. Yes, because the pain was connected to love, and I didn't want to forget either one. Duri was quiet for a long time. Then it said, the missing pieces of our 5 dead Jason. They contained memories from long ago. The first star journey, the great building of the Northern Sea, the meeting of the 3 moons. These memories were held by these 5 only, to be shared when needed. Now they are gone forever. And that loss hurts the whole Jason mind. Yes, we feel incomplete. Duri looked directly at Tai-Ho. Is this what you felt when your sister died? Incomplete. Yes, said Tai-Ho. Like a part of me was missing and could never be replaced. How did you continue? How do humans live with such holes in their existence? Tai-Ho thought carefully before answering. We learn to carry the missing pieces with us in a different way. Through memories, stories, pictures, through rituals that honor the dead. The candles, said Duri. The photos on the wall. Yes, and many other ways. Different human cultures have different traditions. Some burn offerings. Some build monuments. Some have special meals or play music the dead person loved. These actions do not bring back the dead. How do they help? They give us a way to express our grief together, to share the burden of loss, to say goodbye. Duri stood and walked to the window. Its reflection showed an expression Tai-Ho had never seen on a Jason face before. The Jason have never needed to say goodbye, it said. We have never needed to remember what was lost, because nothing was ever truly lost. Until now. Tai-Ho joined Duri at the window. Would you like me to help you find a way to say goodbye? To honor what was lost? Duri turned to him. Yes, the Jason need to learn what humans have always known. We need to learn how to mourn our dead. As Tai-Ho nodded, he felt both sad and strangely honored. He would teach these aliens the most human thing of all, how to remember what was gone forever. The Jason scientists worked day and night. They filled the lab with strange machines brought from their ship. Tai-Ho watched them through the glass wall. He had never seen the aliens move so quickly or with such purpose. What are they doing? Jiwoo asked, standing next to him. Trying to understand what went wrong with the consciousness transfer, said Tai-Ho. Why parts were lost? And why do you look so worried? She asked. Tai-Ho frowned. Because they don't know what they're dealing with. Grief can be overwhelming. Inside the lab, Duri stood at the center of the activity. It connected wires to a large silver ball. The ball glowed with soft blue light. Other Jason touched it, then stepped back quickly as if burned. Captain Han wants to see you, Jiwoo said. Something about a call from Earth. In the communication room, Captain Han waited with a serious face. Earth is sending a ship to collect our dead, he said. They want to know if the Jason will join the funeral service. Tai-Ho thought carefully. I don't know. They're struggling right now. Let me ask Duri. But when Tai-Ho returned to the lab, he found chaos. Jason ran from station to station. Some stood completely still, as if frozen. Others made high sounds Tahoe had never heard before. He found Dury sitting alone in a corner, all four hands pressed to its head. "Dury, what happened?" The alien looked up slowly. Its eyes seemed darker than usual. "We found the missing pieces," it said. "Or rather, we found where they should be." "I don't understand." "The 5 who died, they were special. Old. They carried the first memories of our people, the beginning times." Dury's voice shook slightly. Those memories were to be shared when the bearers could no longer hold them. But the blast, it damaged the transfer organ before the process could start. "So the memories are just gone?" asked Tahoe. "Yes, forever. Like your sister's future drawings, like the words your dead friends will never say." Dury stood up slowly. "We have found the edges of the holes in our collective mind. We can feel what is missing." Other Jason had gathered around them. They moved strangely, bumping into each other. Some touched walls or objects, as if seeing them for the first time. "What's happening to them?" Tahoe asked. "Cognitive disruption," said Dury. "The shared mind tries to find what is lost. It searches and searches but finds nothing. The searching itself causes pain." "This is grief," said Tahoe softly. "This is what it feels like." "It is terrible," said Dury. "How do humans bear it?" "Not alone," said Tahoe. "We bear it together." Just then, one of the Jason fell to the floor. Its body shook. 2 others quickly helped it up. "Hugh is young," said Dury. "The disruption affects the young ones more strongly. They have never known any break in the shared mind." Tahoe watched as more Jason showed signs of distress. Some moved in circles. Others stood too still. It reminded him of humans in deep grief. Some cry, some go numb, but all are changed by loss. "Dury, your people need help," said Tahoe. "This isn't just about missing memories anymore. Your entire way of being is challenged. The Jason have never had to face permanent loss before." "What can we do?" asked Dury. Its voice sounded small, almost childlike. Tahoe took a deep breath. "We need to create a way for your people to process this grief. A ritual. A ceremony. Something that acknowledges what is lost and helps you move forward. Like your candles and pictures." "Yes, but designed for the Jason mind. Something that makes sense to your people." Dury looked around at the other suffering Jason. "Will it stop the pain?" "No," said Tahoe honestly. "But it will give the pain meaning. It will make it bearable." For the first time since he had known Dury, Tahoe saw something like hope in the alien's eyes. "Teach us," said Dury. "Teach us how to remember what can never be recovered." Captain Han called a meeting the next morning. All the station leaders gathered in the main conference room. Humans sat on one side, Jason on the other. The mood was heavy. "Earth wants us to hold a joint memorial service," said Captain Han. "For all who died, both human and Jason. They think it would show unity between our species." One of the human scientists frowned. "Is that appropriate? The Jason don't mourn like we do." All eyes turned to Dury. The alien looked different today. Its skin seemed less bright, its movements slower. "The Jason are changing," said Dury. "We feel the loss of the 5 and what they carried. We need to mark this change." Tahoe spoke up. "I've been working with Dury on an idea. A ceremony that respects both human and Jason ways." Captain Han nodded. "Go ahead." Tahoe stood and walked to the front of the room. "The humans need to say goodbye to our dead friends. The Jason need to acknowledge their lost memories. I propose we do both together." He showed them his plan on the big screen. A ceremony with 2 parts. First, the human traditions, speaking about the dead, sharing stories, lighting candles. Then, something new for the Jason. "We'll create symbols for the lost memories," explained Tahoe. "Objects that represent what can't be recovered." "What kind of objects?" asked Captain Han. "Park Sunmei from the art department has been helping me," said Tahoe. He pointed to a quiet woman at the end of the table. Sunme, can you explain? Sunme stood up shyly. She was the station's communications designer, in charge of making signs and displays. She also painted in her free time. I've been talking with the Jason about their lost memories, she said. The first star journey, the great building, the meeting of the 3 moons. I've created images based on their descriptions. She showed her work on the screen. Beautiful paintings of strange stars, massive structures, and 3 moons hanging close together in an alien sky. These images can't replace what was lost, she said, but they can be new ways to remember. Dury stood up and moved closer to the screen. It stared at the paintings for a long time. These are good, it said finally. Not the same as the memories, but something new from the loss. That's part of mourning, said Taiho. Creating new memories to honor what's gone. The humans and Jason discussed the plan for an hour. Some suggested changes. Others asked questions. In the end, they all agreed to hold the memorial in 2 days. After the meeting, Taiho and Sunmei walked together through the station. Thank you for helping, said Taiho. Your paintings are perfect. Sunmei smiled. It was strange, trying to paint memories no one has anymore. Like drawing a dream someone else had but can't quite remember. That's exactly what grief feels like sometimes, said Taiho. Trying to hold on to something that's slipping away. They stopped at a window. The damaged section of the station was visible from here, sealed off and dark. Do you think this will really help the Jason? Asked Sunmei. I don't know, admitted Taiho. Their minds work so differently from ours, but they're hurting, and they need a way forward. In the Jason section of the station, Dury gathered its people. 20 Jasons stood in a circle around the silver ball they had been studying. The humans offer us their way of handling loss, Dury told them. They have lived with death always. They know what we are just learning. One Jason stepped forward. Will their way work for us? We are not like them. No, we are not, agreed Dury. But pain is pain, and they know pain well. The silver ball in the center pulsed with light. It was recording everything, saving these new experiences for future Jason. This, too, was a kind of memorial, Dury thought. A way to remember what it felt like to forget. The day of the memorial came. The humans wore black clothes. The Jason wore no special clothing, but each carried a small blue light. The large meeting hall had been transformed. Sunmei's paintings hung on the walls. Tables held personal items from the dead humans. A book that Dr. Yoon loved. Seo's favorite coffee mug. Young Jun's music player. Photos showed their smiling faces. In the center of the room stood 5 tall glass columns. Each one held swirling lights that moved like smoke. These represented the 5 dead Jason and their lost memories. People filed in quietly. Humans sat on chairs. Jason stood behind them. Captain Han walked to the front. Today we remember those we lost, he said. Both human and Jason. Both gone too soon. The human part of the ceremony came first. Friends spoke about the 3 dead humans. They told stories that made people laugh and cry. Dr. Yoon had been strict but kind. Seo had been the best card player on the station. Jun had sung songs from home when he thought no one was listening. Taiho watched the Jason carefully. They stood very still, their large eyes taking in everything. Some tilted their heads when humans cried. They seemed confused but interested. Then Dury walked to the front. It looked at the gathered humans and Jason. Humans say goodbye to those who are gone, it said. The Jason have never needed to say goodbye, but today we must learn. Dury approached the first glass column. It placed its blue light into a slot at the base. The swirling lights inside the column changed color, turning from white to pale blue. Tal carried the memory of our first journey between stars, said Dury. That journey made us who we are today. Though the memory is lost, we honor what it gave us. Each of the other Jason came forward one by one. They each placed their blue lights into the columns. With each light, The swirling smoke changed, becoming brighter, more complex in its patterns. Tai-ho found himself holding his breath. The Jason moved with such care, such focus. They were creating something new even as they marked what was lost. When all the lights were placed, Dury spoke again. These columns will stay lit. The light patterns will never repeat. They will always change, like memories change when we think about them. The room was very quiet. The only sound was the soft hum of the station and the occasional sniff from a crying human. Tai-ho stood up. He and Dury had planned this next part carefully. In many human cultures, he said, we share food after a funeral. Eating together reminds us that life continues, that we still need to care for each other. Tables along the side of the room were uncovered. They held food from Earth and special nutrient blocks that the Jason used. Please, said Tai-ho, let's share this meal together. Slowly, humans and Jason moved to the tables. At first, they stayed separate, humans with humans, Jason with Jason. But then something unexpected happened. A young human scientist approached Dury. She held out a small piece of bread. On Earth, she said, we sometimes share our favorite foods with others at a funeral, to remember the good times. Dury looked at the bread, then carefully took it. The Jason couldn't eat human food, but that wasn't the point. Dury understood the meaning behind the action. It took a nutrient block from the Jason table and held it out to the scientist. This was preferred by Nell, who carried the memory of the great building, said Dury. It will dissolve in your hand, but the molecules will be part of you for a time. The scientist smiled through her tears and held out her palm. Dury placed the block there, and they watched together as it slowly melted away. Around the room, other humans and Jason began to exchange items, not to consume them but to share the gesture. Tai-ho felt something in his chest, a tight feeling, but not a bad one. The Jason were finding their own way to Mourn, taking human ideas but making them their own. For the first time, he believed they would be okay. 2 weeks passed after the memorial. The station slowly returned to normal work. The damaged section was being fixed. The bodies of the dead humans had been sent back to Earth. But things had changed. Tai-ho noticed it first in Dury. The alien moved differently now, pausing sometimes to look out windows or touch objects. Its questions had changed too. What do humans dream about? Dury asked one morning as they sat in the observation room. All kinds of things, said Tai-ho. Past events, people we know, strange made-up places. Why do you ask? I had a dream, said Dury. For the first time. I saw the 3 moons, though I have never seen them. I think I dreamed Nell's lost memory. Tai-ho sat up straight. That's impossible. You said those memories were gone forever. They are. This was not a memory. It was my mind trying to create what might have been. Dury's voice sounded almost excited. Other Jason report the same thing. We are imagining what we cannot know. That's remarkable, said Tai-ho. Humans do that too. We imagine the lives our dead might have lived if they had not died. Captain Han called Tai-ho to his office later that day. He looked both concerned and curious. The Jason are doing something strange, he said. They've taken over the old storage room. I need you to find out what's happening. Tai-ho found the storage room easily. The door was open. Inside, he saw something amazing. The Jason had created a space unlike any Tai-ho had seen before. The walls were covered with images. Some were Sun-Miz paintings, others were new. The glass columns from the memorial stood in a circle, but now there were more objects. Strange shapes made of metal and light, small containers filled with colored liquids, and hanging strings of tiny crystals. Dury stood in the center, directing other Jason. What is this place? Asked Tai-ho from the doorway. Dury turned. We call it the Memory Archive. It is for things that exist only here. It pointed to its head. Tai-ho stepped inside. You're making a physical space for memories. Yes, and for things that never were but might have been, for dreams of the three moons, for songs about the first star journey. Tai-ho walked slowly around the room. Each object seemed to mean something special to the Jason. They touched them carefully, sometimes making soft humming sounds. "This is like a museum," said Tai-ho, "or a shrine." "We saw how humans keep objects to remember their dead," said Duri. "We are doing the same for our lost memories." One Jason was placing small blue stones in a pattern on the floor. Another was connecting thin wires between the columns, making them pulse with light in sequence. "But there's more," said Tai-ho. "You're not just remembering. You're creating new things." "Yes," said Duri. "The missing pieces left holes. But holes can be filled with new things." Tai-ho felt a smile spread across his face. The Jason had gone beyond simple mourning. They were making art. They were imagining. They were doing things they had never done before. Over the next days, Tai-ho watched the memory archive grow. Other humans visited too. They were amazed at what the Jason were creating. "Is this what grief does to them?" Ji-woo asked as she and Tai-ho watched a Jason carefully arrange small mirrors to catch light from the columns. "Not grief alone," said Tai-ho, "but understanding loss has changed how they think about memory, about what's important." A young Jason approached them. It was Hyu, who had fallen in distress after the accident. Now it seemed calm, focused. "I am making a thought form for June," it said to Tai-ho. "The singing human. I heard his music once. Now I am making the shape for how it sounded." Hyu showed them a delicate structure of thin metal rods that moved slightly in the air currents. As they moved, they made soft tones like gentle music. "June would have loved that," said Tai-ho, feeling tears in his eyes. "Then it is good," said Hyu. "His song continues, though he does not." Tai-ho nodded. The Jason had learned more than how to mourn. They had learned why humans valued each life so deeply, because each one was unique and irreplaceable. And in that learning, they were becoming something new themselves. 1 year later, Tai-ho stood at the window of a Jason ship. Below him, the Jason homeworld grew larger. It was his first visit to their planet. The blue-green world had 3 small moons that hung close together in the sky. "The 3 moons," said Tai-ho softly, "just like in Sunmi's painting." Duri stood beside him. Yes, though no living Jason remembered how they looked together, Sunmi's art was very close to true. The station accident had changed relations between humans and Jason. After shared grief came shared understanding. The Jason had invited a small group of humans to visit their world for an important event. As they landed, Tai-ho saw a vast city of tall, thin buildings that caught the light like mirrors. Thousands of Jason moved through wide streets. Some noticed the human ship and paused to watch. "They look different from you," said Tai-ho. "Their skin is greener." "The space-traveling Jason are changed to live in ships," said Duri. "These are home dwellers." Duri led Tai-ho and the other humans through the city. Captain Han had come, along with Ji-woo and Sunmi. They followed their guide to a large open space at the city center. There, Tai-ho stopped in surprise. Rising from the ground was an enormous version of the memory archive. The glass columns were now as tall as buildings. Between them, thousands of objects hung in the air or sat on platforms. Lights moved through the whole structure in patterns that reminded Tai-ho of thoughts moving through a brain. "It's amazing," said Sunmi. Her paintings had been copied and enlarged, forming part of the great display. "Today marks 1 full cycle since the loss," said Duri. "Today we remember." Jason were gathering in huge numbers. They formed circles around the memory archive. Some carried small objects that they placed on special shelves. Others simply stood and watched the moving lights. The humans were given a place of honor near the center. As they watched, a soft sound began. The Jason were humming, first just a few, then hundreds, then thousands. The sound rose and fell like waves. "Is this music?" asked Captain Han. "I thought the Jason didn't make music." "We did not," said Duri. This is new. We call it memory sound. The humming grew louder. The lights in the memory archive began to pulse with the sound. Then Dury stepped forward and raised all four hands. One cycle ago, we lost what could not be replaced, it said. Its voice was carried by hidden speakers so all could hear. For the first time, the Jason learned what humans have always known, that some things, once gone, are gone forever. The crowd hummed in response. But humans also taught us that what is gone can still be honored. What is lost can still be remembered in new ways. Dury turned and looked at Taiho. Kim Taho taught us how to mourn our dead. In doing so, he taught us how to value life. Taiho felt his cheeks grow warm. He had not expected to be mentioned. Before the loss, each Jason was only a holder of collective memory, continued Dury. Now each Jason is also a maker of new memory. Each one sees the world in a way no other does. Each one dreams dreams that no other can dream. The humming changed, becoming more complex as different groups made different sounds that somehow fit together. We invite our human friends to place their memories in the archive, said Dury, for we are all keepers of what must not be forgotten. Sunma stepped forward first. She carried a small box. Inside was a paintbrush she had used to make the original paintings of the three moons. I give this to remember creativity born from loss, she said. One by one, the humans added small items to the archive. When it was Taiho's turn, he placed a photo of his sister Minji. I give this to remember that love continues after death, he said. As the ceremony continued, Taiho realized something important. In teaching the Jason how to mourn their dead, he had helped them find something precious, their individuality, their unique selves. The Jason were still one mind in many bodies, but now each body held its own special perspective, its own precious memories that no other shared in exactly the same way. Dury stood beside him, watching the great display of memory and art. You have changed our entire species, it said quietly. No, said Taiho. Loss changed you. I just showed you one way to carry it. The three moons rose higher in the sky. Under their light, humans and Jason stood together, connected by the one thing all conscious beings share, the knowledge that life is precious because it ends.